Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Leo and I have a stammer. I wanted to create this channel as a way to hopefully connect with others out there and share my experience as a stutterer and hopefully educate some people who might want to learn more about stammering from the point of view of an actual stammerer. I'm going to try and be very uncut in my videos. Which means I'm not going to edit too much. I might just edit long pauses or silences in the video, so it's more of a flowing video. But I'm definitely not going to edit out any of my stutters or blocks, because again, this is a channel to be free. This is a channel to help me be free of my stammer and to accept my stammer. So yeah, anytime that you see me stutter and block, I'm just going to leave it in this video because I just want to be as raw as I possibly can be. I just want to be able to create this channel to share, educate, connect with different people out there. So if you do stammer or you simply want to learn more about stammering, make sure to subscribe and definitely leave a comment, because I do honestly want to connect with anyone who does have an interest in learning about stammering, or just stammers and just wants to express themselves. So now that you know more about the reasons as to why I created this channel, let me just give you an overview of myself and my stammer. So I've been stammering from as early as I can remember, but my main memory of me stammering would be, I think, at the age of 9 or 10. This was during primary school, where the teacher would ask everyone to read a page from a book, and this book would be passed around to every student. So from student A, B to C to and so on. And it'd be passed around, and each student reads one page, passes it along to the student next to them until the whole class has read a page of this book. I used to dread it because firstly, it's me having to read out in front of everyone out loud, and secondly, once everyone has finished reading, they pass the book on to you and they just watch you. They watch you read. So I used to be super nervous whenever that came around. And I remember I used to stammer on 2 major words at that point, and those words were this and didn't. So whenever those words popped up, I used to panic because I couldn't say them. So my avoidance technique at that point was to simply skip the word. It sounds silly, but for example, if I had to say a sentence such as, I went to school, but I didn't want to read in class, I would say, I went to school, but I in class. Yep, it sounds funny, right? But I just blatantly skipped over the word didn't. So rather than saying I went to school but I didn't have to read in class, I'll just say I went to school but I in class. And people would probably think, what the heck is this guy doing? Or they would just think I just skipped over a word because I was reading so fast. But that was my avoidance technique at that time. And I even told the teacher at one point if I could just skip reading in class, but she told me that I couldn't and that it will help me. I think I didn't know what a stammer was back then, or maybe I did, but I couldn't really explain it to her as to why I wanted to skip reading. But she just thought it was a confidence issue, so she made me read out in class. And then I think a couple of years after that, I didn't really have to do much in terms of schooling, but I knew I had problems whenever I went out with my friends and I had to order something from McDonald's, for example. And I really wanted to order a a McChicken sandwich, but I could never say it, especially when the cashier comes to you and says, "What would you like?" And then you're just there standing in front of them with a queue behind you, and you want to say, "Can I have a McChicken sandwich, please?" But those words don't come out. So obviously I had to skip that sandwich and go for like a cheeseburger, because I was able to say cheeseburger or hamburger or something like that. And those situations came up often. Lots of avoidance techniques in those sort of situations. And then later in school, I had to present for the first time in, I think, my schooling lifetime, because I didn't really have much presentations to do growing up until it was much further on into my secondary year, which I think for you Americans or non-UK people, it's high school. And at that point, I was so nervous that I faked ill to go to the nurse's office so I didn't have to read in class. I stayed in the nurse's office for about exactly 1 hour, which was the length of the class, just so I didn't have to present. And I think I did that twice, just so everyone would have their turn when it came to presenting, but I just ignored it, and I think the teacher just forgot about me, which I was happy about. And then eventually university came. I actually wasn't even going to go to university because I was so nervous about presenting in front of a large audience. And yeah, I decided I didn't want to go to university because of that reason. But my mom, she forced me, well, she didn't force me, but she did try to convince me to go. And I'm kind of glad I did, because I wanted to go, but I let the fear of stammering get the better of me. So I did go, and I was super nervous for a lot of the presentations that occurred, because they were in front of quite a big audience, if I remember. I think the largest I did was in an audience, in front of an audience of, I think, 70 or 80 people, which was terrifying, but I managed to somehow do well in them. I think once I got over the initial hurdle of getting in front of everyone and saying a couple of words, I then just started to flow into whatever I was saying, and yeah, things worked out well. And at that point is also when I went into some basic speech therapy, which I'll get into more detail in another video. But that didn't help me too much, but I think I went into it with the wrong expectations. And I then started to work. Didn't really have a job where I had to be super customer facing. No, that's a lie. I was in fact working at a supermarket then, and I don't know if you know, but if you have to make an announcement to the entire store to call a colleague in front of the shop floor, you'd have to use those store microphones, and I would do anything possible to try and avoid using that microphone. I mean anything. I'd say, oh, I need to help a customer really urgently, I can't do it. I think one time my manager asked me to call someone, and I simply just walked away and got lost in the crowd. And yeah, that wasn't fun. But when it came to my professional career, working in the field that I studied, I didn't really have to speak up in most of my meetings because I was still entry level. But once I started to go up in my career, I then became a manager. I then had to present. And to be honest, at this point, I started to become more confident. I forced myself to present in front of the office, the studio that I was working at that time. And it was the initial fear of having to stand up in front of people and talk to people, but somehow I did okay. Yeah, as time went by, I became more of a confident speaker, but my stammer didn't go away. Like so far in this video, I've not stammered so much. And again, that's because I think I'm more of a situational stammerer, if that makes sense. Meaning, since I'm just talking to a camera, I don't really stammer as much. But if I was talking on the phone, if I was just talking to someone who's next to me, I'd end up stammering, and I'm still trying to figure out what that reason is. Whether it's a psychological reason, which I think it is, or something else. But in general, I do stammer. I think I'm just very fluent today. I don't know, got a good night's sleep. I'm not sure what to say. But that's my life so far as a stammerer. I'm 30 now, so more than 20 years, slightly over 20 years of being a stammerer. And yeah, I don't think there is a cure. I don't know. I feel like people say there's a cure. There's so many celebrities and famous people who are stammerers, and you can't even tell. I can't fathom how an actor is able to perform with a stutter. I don't really know, but if they're able to do it, maybe there is a way to overcome it. All I know is right now I'm trying to accept myself as a stammerer. I tell people that I stammer, but those people are people I already know. I need to be more confident to tell people that I've just met, or maybe just not even tell them and just stammer in front of them whenever I do stammer. And that will hopefully make it easier for me to just simply be a stammerer and talk the way I'm supposed to talk. But who knows? I think a lot of work is required until I reach that point. But I don't want to make this video too long. I'm gonna try and keep it as uncut as possible, but I do think there were some long pauses, and I'm gonna cut those out. But everything else, I'll leave it in there. I'll leave it as raw as possible. But again, I hope you do subscribe, and if you have stayed so long into this video, please do subscribe and like this video, and definitely again comment. And thanks for watching. See you next time.